Hello and welcome to the Chromaniacs, your weekly look inside San Diego FC and MLS. I'm Craig Elston, joined as always by my Chromaniac, Tony Sanchez. Tony, what's going on?
Oh, I can't believe the countdown is finally pretty much almost done with World Cup wait. That just means one more San Diego FC match before the party starts against Vancouver, who knocked San Diego FC out last season in a thrilling Western Conference final. And how about you, Alec? Well, Alec isn't here. Saludos, Alec. ¿Cómo estás?
Yeah, Alex on vacation, but joining us to start the show, special guest tonight, our standing keeper of the flow, based on Saturday, where he helped jumpstart the offense to 3 goals at home. We won't talk about the defense. It is TerribleSDFCmemes himself. Brandon, what's going on?
What's going on? Like you said, one more match. I'm actually not going to be there, but I am so just like, I don't know, curious, excited to see what we do over the summer. That is like, I've been telling everyone to be patient, and well, we're here.
Yeah. We're here, but one to go, and that means Chromaniac's still running in full fashion. Tony isn't off gallivanting at the World Cup with Chiva just yet. Alex is off gallivanting, but the show continues apace with Season 2, Episode 16 of the program. And coming up on the show a little bit later, Tony has collected and collated Training Ground sound from Singing Hills, where we'll hear from Mikey Varas and more. We will talk about players going to the World Cup from SDFC, as well as players not leaving for international friendlies in advance of the World Cup. And we'll wrap things up with a preview of Whitecaps and Cromados. We'll figure all that out between here and the end of the show. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can give us that thumbs up. That certainly helps us to get some more virality and get connected to more MLS soccer fans. So please do that. If you're listening to the audio version of the show and you can offer us a 5-star rating or a kind written review, all those things are great. Drop some comments and whatever you're thinking about the show below us on the YouTube feed to help keep the engagement going. Thanks to everyone for their support of the Chromaniacs. And a lot of folks have found out about the Chromaniacs podcast thanks to the work of this man, Brandon, who has been working as our partner at TerribleSDFCmemes to take clips of the show and pair it with video and create great content on social media to help people keep an eye. Look at that. We're almost to 1,000. We said 1,000 by the World Cup. We're close. We're close. We're getting close. Not bad. And, of course, at memes, well over 5,000. But, Brandon, it was one of your famous memes that earned you the honor of Keeper of the Flow as El Paletero, Anders Dreyer, and his bobblehead. I mean, what kind of pride did you feel to see the physical embodiment of this concept come to life?
Where is it? Oh, there we go. It was absolutely wild. You know, they'd reached out to me. Should back up. Kind of the word went out, and I remember last season about, hey, you know, kind of looking for keepers of the flow. And at the time, I'll be honest, I was like, yeah, let someone else do it. But when they asked me about this specific game, I was like, I'm in. Like, let's do it. And it was, I think I posted about it later. The idea of, hey, how'd it go? And I'm just like, I don't know, man. I blacked out. Like, it was just the whole week kind of leading up to, and then we had a midweek game too. It was just wild. Yeah, absolutely insane. You know, thanks to the club for kind of reaching out, and then they did a hype video for me, and then they did another modified hype video, you know, that played in the stadium. And I'll tell you, the actual time, you know, with the chrome ball there, they made it pretty idiot proof, to say the least. You're probably not going to be able to see it in that video, but there's someone basically telling me what to do the entire time. You know, I could do my own thing with it, but yeah, it was wild.
how much of don't drop the ball, don't drop the ball, don't drop the ball. Like, how much was that going? Did you have it secured? You know, the keeper of the floor, you have to have those safe hands, and you don't want to be the first one. Hopefully it never happens.
Dropper of the flow.
Dropper of the flow. Spiker of the flow. I thought about it. I'd had those ideas of, my main thought going into it was be respectful of the moment, but also I didn't want to be a statue and walk out there, and so I kind of took the opportunity to point over to the north end and hold the ball and just have fun with it a little bit. So that was my main goal. I was like, I'm not going to do anything stupid, but at the same time, kind of show respect to a lot of these other people that are putting in work every match. So
what made you want to decide to start putting in work in terms of creating memes, doing this? Like, what's the motivation behind it for you?
It all started back in 2022. I was sending memes to my buddies in a group chat about the Padres, and then hey, you should put them on Instagram, and here we are. And I now over 20,000 followers on Terrible Padres memes. Yeah, there you go, over 5,000 now. And I just just have fun, and it's provided me some other opportunities, which is great, but just have fun. And that's really what it's about. And I have some kind of rules, if you will, that I try to stick to. Like, I don't talk trash about individual players. And I just try to lighten the mood when things are going bad, and try to hype up the crowd, or hype up the fan base when things are going good. That's kind of the way I see it.
And you and I have gone back and had conversations, and just it's one of these things where I don't think either of us kind of grew up and said, you know what, we want to go ahead and just manipulate soccer images in a funny way, or just edit them in such a fashion. But like, it's an art, and at the end of the day, you just kind of have to hold the mirror up to yourself, and if it makes me laugh or it makes you laugh, then it's worth the page. Or like, what's that quality control like for you? Like, is there just something that's like, you know what, maybe not, let's go back to the drawing board?
Yeah, I think I've gotten a little bit more. It's weird. Sometimes I'm really picky, and other times I'm just like, whatever. And I'll say this, I do have people send me stuff, occasionally, and it's just so much different when it's yours, and it's like I'm taking ownership, even if it's a complete flop and people get mad at me about it or something. It's mine. It's just, like I said, I think I've tried to kind of step the game up now more with the video stuff, and more on the FC side, more even just showing myself. I know those aren't memes, but at the end of the day, again, just having fun. And I always tell everybody, there's a reason I chose this name for my accounts. If you don't like something I did, well, I set the bar really, really low by calling my account terrible. And that's the only reason I chose that name, was literally that. It's like, I'm setting the bar low. So anything, if I can just get over that little, 2-inch bar, then we're good.
Tony, you've gotten increasingly clever with your two bowls and a mic preview videos.
Oh, fantastic lately.
On Sunday. How much has Brandon influenced your art in that regard?
I mean, it's one of the things where it's like, I'm spending way too much time on something, and the idea just pops in, where I'm just like, there has to be follow through. And I sometimes I bounce things off of Brandon, we exchange some things. We're like, yeah, this is great. Like, and if anybody doesn't like it, then it's fine. Cause it made me giggle. It made me laugh. And at the end of the day, like, if it means there's a context where I can express myself with, something that I love in The Simpsons, and there's a perfect, image of Sideshow Bob, and just the sound that Kelsey Grammer makes, and that grunts while voicing him. Like, it's just like, well, yeah, okay, what else could this be? And I mean, it's a cool little space and area to kind of exist outside of everything, because like, it's cool to see this side of the community and this side of the community be rewarded too. Like, man, like keeper of the flow at this point, it's like the equivalent of a first pitch in soccer in San Diego.
Yeah,
like, that's
no, for sure.
a moment.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I last week I ran the gamut of feelings, emotions, if you will, honored and grateful and elated, to also, like, kind of before it happened, I was like, do I really belong here, almost, right? Like, kind of going back to what we were talking about, there's a lot of people that work their tail off, and for no recognition. They're doing it to promote the club, and maybe not even necessarily club, but the atmosphere. And so it's a truly wild experience. Like you said, I've explained it to a couple people, like, yeah, it's like the first pitch, but I got a hype video, so it's pretty cool. So yeah.
Just to go over some of those names really quick, Craig: Dominic Mysterio, WWE; Manny Machado; Jason Myers; Rashid Shaheed; Rey Mysterio; Sonny from POD; Willie Santos; Shannon McMillan. I mean, and terrible SDFC memes. Like,
Right.
you are also guilty in there.
Yeah, I had a group chat with a bunch of people on fantasy football league I've been in for like 20 years. But someone was like, hey, so do they do this every match? And I was like, yeah, every game. Again, kind of like the first pitch. And then I sent in the text, I said some absolute legends have done it. Machado, Musgrove, Thames, POD, and I just started Alex Morgan, and my name was the very last one, after I listed off like 8 people. It's again kind of wild to be part of that. Thankful again for everyone that kind of reached out. Like, even someone from the club came up to me before I actually did it, and this is after they released that first hype video, and he's like, man, that post, you got a ton of comments and ton of engagement. And I was like, yeah, I mean, just I absolutely blown away. So again, thank you to everyone for showing your support. And it's been a wild ride, and I try to help out where I can, and if you don't like me, don't follow me. But that's
it. Along those lines, first year, as we all know, for San Diego FC was a magic carpet ride. Everything went well, and you had a chance to put as many great, funny, happy memes into the world as possible. But as you know, as a supporter in Las Buenas y Las Malas, and SDFC has certainly had their share of Las Malas over the course of this first half of the season, somewhat getting better with 4 games unbeaten, somewhat staying the same by magically conceding with like no time left, like literally no time left, or maybe negative time left at the moment of concession and pain. So how has that, in your opinion, affected your work over the course of this year?
As you guys know, being in the space of podcasting and all that stuff, numbers are definitely better when you're winning. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So it's just trying to find, those little moments to, like I said, kind of lighten the mood, carry some of the momentum if you can, and that's it. And then at the end of the day, it's like, again, seeing the follower count tick up and stuff like that is nice, but kind of like Tony said, hey, if it makes me laugh, it makes me happy. If it's a means for me to vent or make light of a situation, then that's really that's what I'm all about. And hopefully someone out there, I kind of help them get over a bad loss or something like that. And that, I don't know. That's kind of my, maybe it's a little pie in the sky, but that's the way I, hope this all comes across.
And it's part of the fabric too of a brand new club. Like, this is the culture that needs to be set. And I think I referenced last week, I think of Chris McVeigh's happy birthday post after he got a red card. and just how every comment was a gif or an image of a red referee giving a red card or something referencing red, like, yes, nature is it's healing. This is how it should be, and it's part of a healthy soccer ecosystem because you give that space for people in those comments to go at it, have their opinions, have their thoughts on what everybody's kind of gone through with Chucky Lozano, and just
Yep.
this is right, this is wrong. You see just the spectrum of fandom in your comments section, and I think that's something that's necessary, especially on an outside outlet, because you for sure get more content and engagement than a lot of the SDFC posts themselves.
Yeah, it's and it's more. Sometimes it's hard because it's like you feel, SDFC has 250,000 followers or whatever, but it's like, how many of those people, just hit follow after one of those famous people, Rey Mysterio or whoever was keeper of the flow, versus like trying to build somewhat of a community. Like you guys, like Chromaniacs, Two Balls on a Mic, you got people that show up, every podcast, when you're doing the live YouTube thing. And as for those comments, like I've got my own opinions, obviously, about a lot of it. And I try, and I know Craig, you talk about this a lot, try not to tell people how to fan, and that's, I might not agree with you. There's a lot of people I do not agree with at all. And there's some practices I don't agree with, but at the end of the day, like I'm not one to boo, that's not me. I'm not one to, they're our team. But if you want to boo, I get it. Like you paid the money to show up at the game. Like that's kind of your right at that point. So again, don't want to tell people how to fan. Worst comes to worst, I don't really like your comment, and I just try to ignore it or maybe give a little bit of a pushback, but ultimately, do you. So
what are your expectations for San Diego FC over the course of the summer transfer window? What do you, not necessarily your hopes or your realistic thoughts, but what are your expectations? Like what's the baseline that they need to cross, in your opinion?
So it's really weird. So about an hour ago, I had this thought, and I was comparing SDFC to the Padres' current situation. So both these teams' current situations. And I was just thinking about which team do I think has a better chance right now to win, a championship. And for me, it's SDFC. And
Well, easily, yes, absolutely. There's
yeah,
no
because
Dodgers. There's the Whitecaps. There's Inter Miami. There's no Dodgers in MLS.
And we're looking at like the Padres. They're kind of, we're not really sure how much money the new owners are going to put in. And even if they do, they don't have profit, yada, 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 right? Versus SDFC, these last few wins/draws have kept them kind of in it. That was my main worry, was that they were going to just go like 0 for 15 or something like that. And, when they were on 0 for 5, well, it would have been like, 0 for 10 or something. And at that point, they would have just said, screw it, this is a rebuilding year. They didn't do that. So, obviously the big thing, the elephant in the room has to leave one way or another, Chucky. I'm sure they're looking for a club to pick up part of his tab, right? And the summer windows. And I've talked to a lot of people that, especially now, oh, hey, I saw you on Instagram, at the game or whatever. And this has been something that I've had to learn, just the whole issue with the windows. And I keep telling, hey, look at who came over to MLS last year during the summer. There were some big names. And I'm not saying we need a big name, but to only have one DP is not good, and that's essentially what we have right now. I can't necessarily speak to, a certain player or whatever it may be. But my expectations is that they add, and I'd like to see a DP, and I don't know where we're even at with the under 22 stuff right now. I know we got rid of Angel and some others, but that's my big thing, is like, okay, I held out the patience with this team. I kind of understood the big picture with Chucky. I understood the big picture with, the CONCACAF hangover and all this other stuff. And now it's the time to reset, and now it's the time to add. What that is exactly, I'm not smart enough. I can barely keep track of like baseball players, and there's only 30 teams. Soccer, I mean, how many teams from soccer is there to choose from? Like 1,000 or something?
Yeah, 1,000. Yeah, easily.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't even ask me. And then it's like, okay, well, you automatically kind of rule out maybe the top whatever teams, and then you whatever. But it's yeah, there needs to be some additions. And I think, if MLS, if you only have one DP, I think it's just not going to cut it. But I do think we have a solid enough base wherewith, a couple, 2, 3 solid ads that we can really, make a push. So
it makes me so happy hearing you just be so eloquent with just MLS terms and soccer terms in general, because we've had you on here and it was like at the beginning of like, hey, like, how are you experiencing? Like, hey, I'm kind of getting to learn soccer. Now you're just throwing just the concepts of what it is to be a follower of SanDiego FC. And for me, that's just awesome to see somebody just develop into your own version of not just liking SanDiego FC, but just the game. How has SanDiego FC itself just kind of guided you through soccer in general too?
Yeah, it's been wild. I remember someone, recently I was talking to someone. I said, I'm a homer is basically what it is. Not Homer Simpson. I'm a homer as in the home team, right? So, and when there's something I follow, like I pretty much, go all in. Now, some of the other teams, like, like San Diego State basketball, that's a little bit more fringe for me. But like with the Padres, with, San Diego FC, I want to read everything. I want to listen to every interview. I want to listen to every podcast. I want to know everything. And yeah, it's been absolutely wild. But at the same time, I don't really watch a whole lot of other games. Like, again, I'm a homer. So like, yeah, I might watch, obviously Apple's pretty nice in that aspect. You get all the games. I might watch a little bit here and there, and their version of, I forgot what it's called, the Red Zone, but for soccer, that's pretty cool. So I watch a little bit, but it's just San Diego FC pretty much all the way for me, and it's just getting used to, because some of these rules and stuff, like I understood them a little bit from World Cups and Olympics, but learning, kind of the nuance of what's a handball and what's not.
Who knows, Brandon?
Who knows? And what's
still up for debate.
And what's what do you think is a flop? That ends up leading to the second goal given up. And anyways, but it's been eye-opening for me, but it's again, it just kind of comes back to my pride for like the city, and for all of that, and seeing the team, again, we'll see in the summer, but it appears that they're trying to build something here, so that's kind of where I'm at, and it's kind of everything is focused on that, on this team. And like I said, I don't watch a whole lot of other teams.
Well, brother, great job on Saturday. Unlike first pitch, you get to be the unleasher of crazy pyrotechnics. Like, you put the thing down, and I assume there's a big red trigger underneath, like an Acme button. That's like you put it down, it's like boom, 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 boom. Maybe someone's pressing a button somewhere else, but that's, in my mind, it's a Wile E. Coyote Acme, trigger pound right under there. Boom, and away it goes. Great work. Sorry about the last second goal. I told them to drop back deep. I thought it was the right play. It's the wrong play.
I got a rule. So there's lots of people that take their shirts off for goals. 3 goals. 3 goals is my rule. So it happens. It happens occasionally.
Yeah.
Took it off. By the time because I got up on the rail, by the time I got back down on the rail, I'm literally looking up. I see the ball kind of bounce, and then it's getting kicked into the net. All right, let me put my shirt back on.
Put your shirt back on. Yeah. Don't lose your shirt. See, you lost your shirt. And then they lost theirs. Incredible stuff. Follow him at TerribleSDFCmemes. Follow Terrible Padres memes. Thank you for all the work you do for Chromaniacs as well as Padres Hot Tub. And we'll see you out there on Saturday for no, we
Not
won't.
this Saturday.
We won't. Never mind.
Family calls this Saturday, but
It's
yeah,
okay. It's fine.
Yep.
It's completely all right. You don't have to go to every game. No one is keeping attendance. I mean, even if they are, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What are you going to get? A gold star? Like, who gives a crap? So
You get to be keeper of the flow. Oh wait,
you already did it. Safe. Look at this guy. Look at this guy, Tony. They make him keeper of the flow. He skips the very next match. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Where's the commitment? Where's the dedication?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not going to go to an SDFC match for like 2 months.
Yeah, hot potato. Right? Exactly. Yeah. He already told me he's skipping all of June.
Wow. What a guy. Come on now.
Man.
No soccer. Just a palate cleanser of a summer. Like, just forget.
It's going to get really deep into college lacrosse recruiting.
Yeah.
Just, little palate. Yeah, like you said, little palate cleanser. Little, different crops in the field. Okay. Thank you so much, my friend. Take care, memes. Have a great rest of your night.
Right. Take care. Bye.
The great memes. That was fun.
Heck yeah, man. It's awesome, man. It's the community growing, and that's it. Part of the community that came organically. I love it.
Well, no Alex here, but that doesn't mean we can't just keep going with the format of the show. So let's roll straight into Training Ground Sound. If you want to hear, I'll just say this as Tony gets the videos ready. If you want to hear detailed thoughts on what we thought about San Diego FC 3, Cincinnati 3, or for that matter, SDFC 5-0 on Wednesday of last week, we did live post-match shows after both of those games. They are available in our feed, both on YouTube and on podcast form, wherever you get them, Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever else. So go back and give a listen. We don't need to repeat it all. Nothing changed, essentially. I mean, I've heard from Mikey that night. We heard, from the critical players, and I mean, basically, they dropped too deep. Mikey said on Ben and Woods on Thursday morning that he spent the entire 10 seconds yelling at the referee saying the game's over. The game's over.
Yeah.
Blow the whistle. The game's over. Why are you not blowing the whistle? Blow the whistle. Goal is scored. He's like, I'm ready to blow the whistle now. Yeah. Tough breaks. Soccer, tough sport. Not easy to watch, not easy to play. Almost impossible to coach and not lose your sanity. Let's hear from that man trying to keep it together for one more game before he heads out and has a little bit of vacation time. Mikey Varas.
It's a new season, and we're in a different type of battle right now, which is how do we find that consistency to put as strong a second season together as possible. So that's the 99%. As a competitor, though, you never forget these things, right? And you carry it with you for the rest of your life. So there is also just a little extra nugget of feeling in terms of, you want to prove yourself against a very, very good team who obviously knocked you out last year.
Did anything about that match reveal anything about Vancouver that can be utilized this week? The key for us is to make sure that we don't force things inside against them. They're just a very aggressive midfield, and they came out and kind of were just really physical with us and really took away those central spaces. And so how well we're able to use the wide areas will really dictate how successful we can be in the game. How important is it to enter the break on a positive note?
The most important thing is that we put together a strong performance, I would say. So that's number one, because this is a barometer test, and that's what it is at the end of the day. It's going to have a playoff feel to it because it's a play, and then we all go on break, and we are all up for that. We love that pressure, and we're going for the win. That's what we do every single time. But at the end of the day, if we win, it doesn't mean that the rest of the season is going to go flying. You still have to do a summer preseason, and you have to make sure you actually get out of the gates well in the second half. And the same thing if you lose or draw. So the most important thing is that we put together a really positive performance against a top team, and that we show that we can compete.
I feel that's something that you feel is want to see the team work on, especially on set pieces?
What do you mean?
Just based on our last game, just set pieces in general, and just kind of depending on long balls as well.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot. We're a team that's going to have to defend long ball as well because we press high, and set pieces has been a little bit of an Achilles heel for us this season, conceding a lot from corner kicks, for example. And this is something that you got to work in the details with the guys. We have a young group who hasn't experienced a lot of those moments, especially when late in the game, because I think it's the corner kicks late in the game are the ones that have hurt us the most. But the bigger thing is not just those details; it's just how we close matches. We've dropped too many points in 80 minutes and 90 minutes and later, and we're not afraid to admit that. We know that we can clean up some things to make those games more clear. And at the end of the day, if we do that, we're going to be a really competitive team.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, Monaco was announced to be in the Canadian national team for his first call-up against Mexico tomorrow. He was here at training. Do you have any insight on what happened there, or is he going to report with him?
Yeah, I don't know what the final decision from Ghana has been, but Manu is a very important player here. He's a player who's fundamental to our success. He's a player that we see making it to the biggest leagues in Europe one day, and those type of important players, they don't get released outside of international windows.
Mikey Vares explaining why Manu Dua will be in the lineup on Saturday, as opposed to be in the lineup for the Republic of Ghana for a friendly, because SDFC needs him, period. So good stuff there. Overall, and I heard, like I said, I heard Mikey on the radio this morning as well. He's talking about that summer preseason. I think that's interesting terminology, that right now, basically he's seeing the end of one season on Saturday, a season that ends without any trophies, without anything, just ends with numbers on a table. Then the second season begins after the World Cup, which means there's going to be a restart. It means there's going to be a second training camp, essentially, for SanDiego FC. What I heard him say earlier this morning is that he will not be stopping after Saturday. He'll spend time preparing his summer preseason. Then he'll go on a little bit of a vacation with his family, and then he'll come back, and it'll be time to get all that stuff ready and get this team out, because he mentioned getting shot out of a cannon. That's what he wants for SDFC. The schedule gets even harder after the World Cup, and it'll be very interesting to see how this club does respond. Never mind what we were talking about with Brandon in terms of front office moves.
Yeah, and that's the thing for this team, right? Like, they have a really good season as they see it, that they were able to build and get some new experiences for some of the younger players. And something that I kind of noted too, that Mikey was talking about, that Chiva brought up, was just those set pieces and just seeing that there is a Achilles heel, and not necessarily even a vulnerability, but to go into saying, no, like, it's an Achilles heel. It's that ownership that he's taking in that moment. And a lot of it has to do with just the experience that you have in your players. Set pieces generally in soccer, and corner kicks and those dead ball situations are where the experience sometimes flourishes for the opposing team, because a 35-year-old can really get crafty with his maneuvering and movement at a set, steady pace that a younger player just doesn't have the experience to defend those things. And that's why you had sometimes so many balls just bounced around inside of the small box and ends up in the back of the net for SanDiego FC. Poor marking. This last goal where Duran Ferry kind of comes out but doesn't really for a ball in a corner kick. It's that inexperience that he's talking about. But now they've lived that. They've lived that experience, and now there's a whole second season essentially to come on out. And you didn't lose out on anything for having not the greatest season. If anything, they are right on pace where they need to be as a club to be able to make playoffs come the second side of the season. You get health, you get experience, you get players that weren't available at the beginning of the season, like Alvarado, who are coming back, players that are being featured like Pedro Soma. And now you can really have bigger questions, and that's going to be the development of the offseason, because he will have players who are staying and not going to the World Cup. They're going to be there to train with them, to be able to develop these things, to be preparing for the rest of the players to unite and then really focus moving forward.
Who else was picked up today at Training Ground Sound? Who else do we have to hear from?
We got Marcus Invartsen, who is absolutely on a tear, as Terrible SDFC memes crowned him MI7. I really like that nickname. I really do like that nickname for him, Marcus Invartsen.
Hi, Marcus. Thanks for your time today. You've scored 6 goals in the last 4 matches. What has been the key to your success over that stretch?
I think I've been finding a good form personally, and then the last couple of games, our players, the team has also improved, creating more chances. I felt like we had a mid period where we didn't create a lot, we didn't score a lot, and it was frustrating as an offensive player some of these games. But yeah, the last couple of games we play good football, we create a lot of chances, get shots, and then I make sure to be around the box and get my chances.
How does the recent stretch compare to some of your more successful stretches in Denmark or Germany?
Yeah, one of the better ones, I had a good stretch in Germany also. It's just about keeping that going. Now we only have 1 game left, but it's my intention to extend it a little bit.
You scored twice against Cincinnati as a forward. How do you process a night where the attack produces enough for the win, but the final is kind of an incomplete failure?
Yeah, I don't think I've been standing in that situation before, where we score with 10 seconds or whatever left, and then we end up drawing the game. It was tough, and I think we thought with that late goal that we got a winner. But that's something we've been talking about. Also, the second goal they get is not good enough. So some details in that. But the good part is we had a lot of shots, we had a lot of goals, we had some other chances too. Meeting now, playing against a good team, we will have to keep that up.
I'm not sure schools in Europe work the same way, but here it's oftentimes a big test before a long break, like a final or a midterm. Does it feel that way to play Vancouver right ahead of the World Cup break, like a good last test before you guys take some time off?
Yeah, it's a nice game. One of the best playing teams at the moment. They play great football, but I think we have been playing really great football also the last games. So now it's about getting that results, go on a break with a good feeling, and also as a team been fighting our way out of a tough period. But definitely one of the games that are more exciting going into for the last one.
Nice save from PR there. The step and repeat was about to dump on top of Ingvartsen's head. That would have been quite the shot. I'm sure that would have made the Channel 10 news as it was responding to Ben's question. I would have probably made Ben and Woods in the morning as well. So good save there by the PR team. Interesting that Marcus noted, like, I've had a stretch like this maybe one other time in my career when I was in Germany. So he's really in an all-time form right now, Tony.
Which really kind of led me to kind of what I've been doing in the last couple of weeks is looking at some of these highlights of the players before they joined San Diego FC and just really getting an appreciation of where they were. And it's almost like, because you can watch highlights of a player and you can make your assumption based on those highlights. And again, that's just the highlights of it. But you can really just start to see the tendencies, how a player has developed, or just the way the player moves. Like I was watching Marcus Invartsen over in Mainz in the Bundesliga, and just the type of a player, a 9 in that league that I recognize because I've watched some Bundesliga, coming up, and I know the level that it takes to be a player to be able to make the team, let alone score in some of these situations. And I recognize those same movements here in San Diego FC. And it makes sense. Like, yes, we were talking, praising, like, wow, like here's the 9 that we've been waiting for. He's the 9. Like, no, like this guy is somebody who definitely had the class and to bring it here and bring it home. Then I went over and watched some Yepis Verskov highlights from teams in past with a different lens, and I recommend that for anybody again who just kind of is going to have that World Cup break and just want some SDFC. Go watch some Alex Mighton. Like, you get to see, like, yeah, he does that here too. He likes to cut and take an extra touch sometimes, and he has the view, but he also has that almost a bulldog mentality to approach the ball and attack and just muscle his little way in there. And sometimes he gets the score, and he's tenacious. But yeah, I mean, he's had this type of form, and he's definitely kind of showcasing the best that he can. But it's association football for a reason. You need help. It's not a one-man show. It's an ensemble. Like, this is where the team aspect has to come in, and he needs help. He's doing what he can, but Marcin Varsin needs help.
Did we have one more on the docket?
Yeah, Alvarado, as he is returning to form and getting some more minutes. A young man coming up, being healthy. Here we go, Mark.
It's been a long 10 months. The patience, just being able to enjoy it a lot. And then athletically, I do feel a little more faster, stronger. There was a lot of hard work in the gym throughout these last 10 months. And then the understanding of the game was just a lot better as well. Being able to see from an outside level to, be able to better my game, even though I wasn't able to play last year. It was a big help for sure.
How are you all the way back? How, like, 1 to 100, how close are you to 100%?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm 100 because I'm back. Obviously, there's still some restrictions, but I feel very good, ready to help the team in any way possible, and just excited to be back on the field, next to my teammates.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
It does seem like when you're coming in, I have the team in the last couple of games, the team has a lead or gets a lead in the game. What is the message for Mikey when you're getting thrown into the game with about 30, 20 minutes left?
Yeah, just keep the level up. It's always hard to come into a game and being a sub, but you just got to keep the intensity. You got to keep the rhythm. You have to connect your passes and just help the team in the best way possible and try to close the game out, but also go after the result. It's never just defend. It's always go for the result and go for the next goal. But it's just, keep pushing and keep the level up.
And you've been here since last season, despite the injuries. What do you think has the differences from the first half of last season compared to the first half of this season?
No, I mean, obviously the results haven't been there, but the work is there, the commitment is there, the play style is there. So we just have to keep going and just keep working, to be honest. And they will come at the end of the day. That's why we come here. We work every day, and we give our 100% every day and every game. So obviously, at the end of the day, the result is an important thing, but also the way we play and the way we attack things.
How do you approach the World Cup break versus getting rest and keeping form over all that time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're going to have a couple training sessions here, so they're going to offer training sessions to keep in shape, keep in rhythm. Obviously, a lot of the guys that have had a lot of games and a lot of minutes under their belt, they deserve a little break, but we're still going to keep training, going to keep working to be able to attack the second half of the season even better than the first.
All right, Training Ground Sound. You can hear even more complete interviews by going right here on SanDiego.Futbol to find today's Training Ground Sound. Check it out, SanDiego.Futbol. Have you hit subscribe yet? If not, why not? Consider your choices, life choices. You can make a life choice right now, 0.4 seconds. Click, done. Wow, better day now already. Your day just ticked up 1 notch. Well done. Okay. Let's put our focus in the closing minutes of the show to Whitecaps. And I think the only place you can really start is that Vancouver Whitecaps may be the best team in MLS right now, an MLS finalist last year. They are literally fighting for their franchise's life in Vancouver. And the Vancouver Whitecaps fans have no firm guarantee that the team will play beyond this year in Vancouver, or that very soon they could not be somewhere else entirely, Tony.
Yeah, and that's kind of the off the pitch distraction that should, essentially, it's either one or two things, right? Like, it's big enough to be a distraction to the team and have something really kind of effect because there is that emotional tie down to what's happening. You as a player could potentially have to be uprooted, against your will, essentially moved elsewhere because, or you just settle in Vancouver and try to stay in Canada. Like there's just different possibilities, but it's almost the opposite effect of, I think they've harnessed this energy, and as the team have really embraced it and said, we're a really good team. We're going to showcase what this team can do, top to bottom, front office to supporter, and on the pitch, off the pitch, everything, because this is not okay. And, as somebody who's lived through a relocation of a team, like no fan base deserves to have their team moved and just uprooted at all. And it's, you don't really see that in soccer because, again, you're looking at European clubs that have been in the neighborhood since the first church was ever built, because the pitch was on the backyard of that church, and now it's a 100-year-old club with just the following of that whole town, and it was the backbone of the town. It's different in 2026. It's different in MLS and in the United States. So it's something that hopefully gets resolved for the better side of things, and hopefully for Vancouver remains there, as it's a unique stadium, it's a unique situation, and just save the Caps for sure. And that's, again, one of these intangible things that you can't really put your data hat on with analytics of like, this doesn't impact the team, but it almost has, and they're a really good team. Like on the other side of things, they're still a really good team. They're doing the things that they were doing last year. They were in situations where it's like, you need to be losing by so much more, and they're getting a result. They're a really well-coached team. Mikey Varas gave them respect as well. And it's going to be very interesting. But this last weekend, kind of some SDFC vibes. 96 minute goalkeeper Takaoka, one of the best goalkeepers in MLS, gets sent off against Houston. Houston also scored late against San Diego. Just lets one in, and they lose. Yes, so the backup goalkeeper gave that up after surviving just a good half an hour plus of play against 11 men. So
ouch.
Seem familiar, San Diego FC? Like red card, lose a game in a fashion. You have to have a harder work rate and output by the team in general to be able to get 1 point. They almost got it. And so, now you're in a situation where you're facing a well-coached team, a goalkeeper that's going to go ahead and grow from that moment, or another goalkeeper in that situation. And it's going to be interesting how they attack San Diego FC. If who wants to control the game, if they want the ball or not. San Diego FC can definitely utilize some counterattacking speed, but at the other end is that you better make sure that those counterattacks are worthwhile, because Vancouver is an educated team who can come back and score with their talent as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think your dream from an SDFC fan standpoint would be that with Takaoka out and with a second string goalkeeper in, that the team puts more energy into defending, into defensive positioning, into preventing scoring opportunities, and as such that blunts their own ability to score. I hate to say it, but I think it's very true. A draw is a very positive result for SDFC in this match. Obviously, they would love to win, but if they lost 4-1, it would not be that surprising given how excellent the Whitecaps attack has been, Tony.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, you still have that just talisman of a player in Thomas Mueller, who can turn a game upside down and can take over a game. But hasn't necessarily been that sort of player for Vancouver, but he doesn't need to right now, because they are a really well-coached team, and that midfield's going to be dangerous. And again, if you're looking against a midfield, looking towards to get in a midfield battle, you still don't have Yepes Verskov. You've seen some good performances from Soma. You have Anibal Godoy, who is literally 90 minutes away. He needs to stay healthy to make them play and captain the World Cup team for Panama. Like, I don't care what player it is. That just has to weigh on the back of the mind, and you can play.
You're so right. It's almost
And-
got to be hard to play him because you
Yes.
know he can't get stuck in any meaningful way. I mean, the worst thing in the world would be to get hurt the day before you're going to go down and play for the World Cup.
Yeah, and that's one player that again brings that physicality in there. But how much are you going to go ahead and trust that? Do you trust a midfield of David Vasquez, Valacari, and Pedro Soma, and have them start against this team? You also clearly aren't punting this game because you denied Mano Dua from going to a friendly against Mexico, which I see there's a lot of people who are upset about that. I understand that feeling of, well, this might have been a look for and a chance for him to go to Ghana and the World Cup. Realistically, no. There are better, more developed center backs for Ghana right now that should be getting the call up for sure before Mano Dua gets a look. He's on his way. He's 100% on his way, but not yet. 2030 World Cup. We'll talk about it and how Mano Dua is going to be a starting center back or center defensive mid at that point with Ghana. But right now, I think it's going to be a battle of just try your best and try to get a point out of this. Victory, fantastic, phenomenal. But try to go ahead and get a point out of a really good Vancouver team who you even if you were healthy, you probably wouldn't, be upset about conceding and losing to a really good team. Yeah, you can be upset of how it happens, but they're a really good team.
Yeah, and can be relentless and can pounce on your mistakes and convert them into goals. And SDFC's major issues have been mistakes that are quickly converted into goals and late concessions. Late concessions, and as Chiva spoke to Mikey, corner kick issues, set piece issues. So those will be things I'll be checking on. But I think energy is really important in a game like this because every team is going to have at least a couple of guys that are thinking about a World Cup exit, that are looking ahead to vacation, that are thinking, in other words, this might not be the most immaculately focused game for every player on both teams. So that means it's up for grabs, in my opinion. And if SDFC comes out with a heightened level of focus and want to, they may very well find a Vancouver team that's looking a little bit ahead to vacation and doesn't have their starting keeper. And if they fall behind early, maybe they don't have the fighting spirit to really push it out. So I'm going to say that 2 goals for SDFC really matters a lot. I think whenever it's a 1-0 game and if SDFC could get a lead, that's great. But defending that against a quality side for 90 plus minutes, you're probably not going to wind up winning 1-0. Like I just don't see that as a very logical result. But if you can get that second goal, then maybe that psychology comes into play, Tony, where it's like, do we really want to maybe risk an injury to push so hard in this game? We're already kind of losing. Maybe this one is one that just gets cooked and no one will remember it in 6 weeks when we're back to start this thing up for real. We've had a great first half of the season. Am I excuse making for Vancouver? I mean, I'm just trying to think of like a scenario by which they could actually kind of phone it in a little bit. And I think SDFC 2, Vancouver 0 is that.
That's one side of the conscience talking. I think then the other side of the conscience is like, but they're the ones that eliminated you last year. They're the ones that got you out. They're the ones that came into your house and you even allowed Chucky Lozano to get a goal to give people hope. Like you're the team that came in here and did all this. And I think you heard that from Mikey a little bit like, yeah, we don't forget. Like nobody forgets at the end of the day. Like those wounds are healed, but there's still that mental aspect of like, wouldn't it be great if we just go ahead and take it to them? Takaoka out from what I'm hearing as well. Andres Cubas, a defensive midfielder, also out. The Argentine, going to be out there, not making the roster this time around. There is a connection to San Diego, Craig, via roster, and he was a starting midfielder last game against Houston with the number 8. Do you care to have? And I'll give you. It's a San Diego loyal connection.
Oh, Too late at night. That was at a swim banquet. Just go ahead and fire it out. I'm not going to try and look smart here for any second.
Oliver Laraz.
Oh,
Oliver Laraz. Yeah. It was part of Colorado Rapids after Loyal came back, was part of that Nick Moon transition back in the day for San Diego Loyal, but he's in Vancouver and started last game. So hey, it's always kind of neat to see these little Hansel and Gretel morsels just laid out of San Diego Loyal, of San Diego soccer history past.
Hey, Loyal may be gone, but the second death is when everyone forgets that you were ever there. And I was wearing the Loyal training kit proudly today when I was out running errands, and there's still Loyal players out there to this day. Obviously, we had Godfrey versus Faree just last Wednesday, and that was pretty incredible. So good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Any closing thoughts, Tony, before we get out of here on this one?
Well, I think everybody should approach this game with an open mind and just again just enjoy it, because I know the players are going to enjoy it. Everybody's going to enjoy it, and they're not going to see anything other than international friendlies at Snapdragon and some San Diego Wave games. But then World Cup happens, so hey, soccer in San Diego. This is literally what people have dreamed of in this situation. So just take that step back. Enjoy it and take it all in. But as far as Saturday goes, a little giveaway, international soccer ball.
That's right. Yeah, I saw that. Mini footballs with all the World Cup international flags. That's fun. Something to kick around in the backyard as you enjoy World Cup action. And yeah, Wave playing on Sunday, and then they'll be on break forever. And we'll see them back in San Diego in July. But the Wave are really fun. Man.
Yeah, they are.
Should have won that game.
Yeah, three big mistake areas where I'm like, yeah, right there.
Had some misses that were right on the doorstep. Jane Campbell, damn it. But she, unfortunately, she got the worst of it by the end of the night. Smack in the face.
I do have one shout out really quick. The theme song, 2 a.m. by Los Shadows.
Yes.
A band that, I went to high school with these guys. I've always had this talent. They had been on a hiatus, and they're coming back for 619 Day here. Los Shadows making a comeback.
Oh, hell yeah.
You guys, 10 years of Los Shadows. Fantastic. Check them out. Barrio Logan. All the information on Instagram. Great set of dudes. They have cumbia Mexican feel with, I don't know, it's like if Morrissey and some cumbia kind of came together in a
right. That's good.
Baseball band. It's really cool.
Well, damn, I think I'm going to be around. I want to go on 619 Day and see Los Shadows. We should have a Chromaniacs joint trip out there. Maybe meet the band. Maybe we should interview them, talk to them on the show. Okay, that's amazing. Great stuff. Tony, tell everybody what else is happening this week on SanDiego.Futbol.
Well, we have all of the full media availability on SanDiego.Futbol. Go ahead and check it out on all platforms, SanDiego.Futbol. We're taking everybody to the World Cup with us. That's the plan. Just follow us. We're going to be out there for that third Mexico game that entire week. Hopefully, if things start aligning, put some pressure. I want Mikey Varas. I want to interview Mikey Varas while I'm in Mexico. And then Jonas Sandoval the next day. And then everybody else. Let's make it happen. SanDiego.Futbol. Greg?
Well, in addition to the Chromaniacs, which you, of course, can follow on Instagram, powered by our earlier guest, TerribleSDFCmemes. You can follow me on Instagram at 619 Sports and Life. My next post will probably either be something from the game. Yes, Brandon found that picture of me walking in last Saturday. So here's a little clue. The Summer Fit is coming. Starting on Saturday. We're switching to the summer. Yeah, we got to switch to the Summer Fit. We can't keep going in the full regalia as it gets hotter. A little bit. It's not very breathable. Spoiler alert. Breathability poor. So we'll be, look for that in the purple lot. and in the North End on Saturday. We can be back with post-match coverage, of course, at the end of that game, and hopefully celebrating a huge win for SDFC to go into the break, at which point we'll probably do a Chromaniacs to wrap up the first half, and then Tony and Chief will be off on their World Cup journey, and Chromaniacs will be off for a little bit while they are away, and then we'll kick back up to cover the summer preseason and whatever happens in the transfer window and whatnot at the end of June. Meanwhile, the Padres continue to play at Padres Hot Tub. We continue to produce for our patrons. We did post-game shows after every game of the Dodgers series. Let me tell you, it felt like we're doing the one after the 4-0 victory for LA on Wednesday night, but that's what we're there for. We're there to provide the content to our patrons, which you can support at patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. If you go to PadresHotTub.com, you can just click on the Join Our Patreon link and jump on in there, where we literally go from the free show you get a week to up to 5, 6, 7 shows a week on patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. So if you're a Padres fan, I invite you to check it out. Until then, Alex, safe travels. Hope you are having an amazing vacation and that you will be back more world-wise, but just as healthy and happy and safe. For Alex Pena, for Tony Sanchez, for Brandon Booth, Terrible SDFC Memes, I'm Craig Elston saying thank you for being here, and vamos, SDFC.